Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've already been here before. I'm Deanne Castro, Creative Memories Advisor in Bakersfield, California. And I'm getting excited because the weather is starting to cool off just a little bit. We're not at 100 degrees anymore. Today, I think we were at 95 or so. And this week it's supposed to cool off some more. But the thing that's nice is this time of year now it's cooling off at night. Um, it didn't do that very well in the middle of the summer. And I'm not the one who loves to have my air conditioning running 24/7. I like to be able to open the windows at night. So, don't know what the weather's like where you are. Hope it's getting nicer for you. Hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in each week. Thank you so much. Leave me a comment if you like what you see or if you have some suggestions. Um, and tonight, I'm taking a little bit of a break from the Croptoberfest. So I hope you like this one. It's the end of summer, and I got some photos developed from our lake river trip. So I'm using Life at the Lake paper and an idea that I saw on the blog that was actually created by Sashio Umitsu. She always has some marvelous ideas. Some of them are a little difficult for me, but this one wasn't real bad at all. It's really pretty easy. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. Okay, so let's get started. And here we go. I love this. This looks like a picture frame that you've framed a photo in the scrapbook page. And then you can add photos to go with it. I actually have a few that I've trimmed up. Um, I'm not real one who trims them up to a specific size. I like to just trim them up the way Creative Memories used to teach us how to do it. When you take photos and you don't edit them before you print them from your phone or your camera, you print them out and then you trim your photos up to the focus on what you originally wanted to take the photo up to begin with. So all of these photos were originally 4x6 when they were printed, but I've trimmed them up because there were extra pieces on the end that I didn't need. So here, I'm just going to add a couple of photos. Going to slide this one underneath here. And then my grandkids playing in the water at the lake. So I'll probably do something like this. And then here's a little bit of the lake in the background and the mountains where we were. And we're going to go with this photo. Okay, so let's show you how I got started with this. Okay, so moving that out of the way, but I lost my instructions when I did it. First thing you want to do is you're going to take a piece of black cardstock or any cardstock or shimmer paper. This is actually black shimmer because I just tend to really like the shimmer papers better. If there's one that kind of correlates with it. But this one, we're going to cut a circle out of it. Now, the instructions say to use the jumbo circle and use the red blade on the inside track. Now, if you guys don't know how that works, there's 2 tracks on these custom cutting systems. And then these knobs on the different blades, I have the red one and the green one here. You can see that if I line the knobs up, the blade on the green is out a little bit further than the red one. So this one is going to cut closer to the patterns than this one will. Then we have a blue one that cuts out even further. So this one's about 1/8 of an inch. Then the blue one from the red to the blue is about 1/4 of an inch. But I'm not going to use these tonight. I'm going to use the circle cutter. It's going to be approximate. It's not going to be exact, and that's fine because it's really not going to matter. But if you've got the custom cutting system and you don't have the circle cutter, you will use the red blade, putting the knobs in that groove on the inside. So see how those knobs are in that groove right there? And see how close that red blade is to the pattern? Using the green blade, putting the knobs in there, you see the green blade sticks out a little bit further. So, and you always have to make sure that both knobs are in the grooves. If you don't, all you're going to do is scrape your paper, scrape your photo using the smaller custom cutting system, and you don't want to do that. So what you would do is just line this up pretty much in the center because we're going to cover this up. And then you would cut a circle out using the red blade. But I'm going to use the circle cutter. Now I've lined this up almost to the 9 because the black circle on the original is about 8 3/4 inches wide. So I'm approximating that because there's not 3 lines in the middle here, there's 4 between the different uh, inches for those circles. So I'm just approximating it. Then I'm going to put this in approximately the center of this paper so that I can pretty much get the circle out of the middle. Now I've marked this. This is where this blade is going to cut. And I've marked both sides. And then this is the center of where it's going to cut. It's the center of where the blade is there. This piece is what holds the circle cutter onto the mat in place, and you push it down, and this little circle and this little I don't know what it is. It's a pin type thing, but it's thicker than that. Holds this to the paper. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to line up the line as close as I can to the 6 inches, the center of the circle from the top and the sides. And again, just approximate. It doesn't have to be exact, as long as you're going to get it pretty much out of the middle, and you can still use this paper for the very background. I'm going to hold this down. I'm going to push this down. I'm going to push the white little knob in. That's going to release the blade. Then I'm going to push this knob down, and it's going to cut. And here we go. Ta-da! Just like that. I have a perfect circle that I'm going to be able to use in the rest of this pattern. Okay, I'm going to set that off to the side. Set that one off to the side. This is the second page, and this is going to be most of the background. I'm going to trim this down to 11 3/4 square. So I'm going to take my trimmer out, and I'm going to pull the arm out, and I'm going to line the edge of the paper up to the 11 3/4, which really, in essence, is cutting mostly just 1/4 of an inch off the end. But sometimes the paper isn't exactly 12 by 12. Sometimes it's a little bit more, a little bit less. So to make sure you're doing it, exactly, you're going to line it up over here. Okay, and it's pretty much looks like it's going to be cutting right along the 1/4 of an inch line there. But just to make sure. And I'm just going to cut 1/4 of an inch off. You know what? And it didn't cut. The paper kind of wiggled at the bottom. So there, I could just cut the little piece off there. So I'm going to turn it now 90 degrees and do the same thing. I'm going to line this up at the 11 3/4. Make sure that sometimes this arm doesn't go out all the way. So I want to make sure that it's straight. And I'm going to cut the 11 3/4 inches. Hold the paper down so it doesn't wiggle at the end, and cut off that basically 1/4 inch. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Fast to Fabulous paper. I chose this one because this shows a lot of the lake. The other one showed trees and a little bit of the lake and some mountains. This one, I really wanted to show most of the lake on this page. So I'm going to first I'm going to loosen this right here. And I'm going to move this down approximately 1/4 inch, making it a little bit smaller. So when I map this on top of the other circle, it will give a little bit of a map there. So I'm going to move it down. What I'm thinking is approximately 1/8 inch. And then I'm going to set this here. Now I want to get as much of these mountains here as possible. So this circle is not going to be cutting down the middle, but I want to be able to cut a good circle. So I'm going to move this over. I'm going to see where the blade is there, making sure it doesn't go off the edge. And then I'm going to hold this down and I'm going to turn it, making sure it doesn't go off the edge on the other side. So I can actually move it to the left some more. Now, if I wanted to get the sun as a sunset, I could cut this side. And maybe I am going to do that. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to move this as far over as I can to the right, making sure that the blade is not going to cut off the end. Move it up. Make sure the blade's not going to cut off the end on the top. Trying to get the sun in there. Move the circle. And move this down maybe just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to push the knob in, push the button down, and cut the circle. Okay, and there we go. And I got the sunset in there. That's going to be great because I didn't print some of those photos, but I have some sunset photos as well. Okay, I'm going to move that one out of the way. I'm going to bring these back in here. I'll put adhesive on this one because it's going to cover up most of the black one. I only want a little bit of the black showing to matte behind this. Okay, line this up on my mat so I can see if I'm getting the edges pretty close to even. And then I'm going to line this up on here. And there's only going to be about 1/16 of an inch showing all the way around. So just kind of line it up. Make sure it's pretty straight. And adhere it down. Okay, now I'm going to take the circle. Now by moving that down just about 1.5 little notches, that gave me the mat, the right size that I want on here. So now I'm going to adhere this down to the mat. Kind of eyeball it, center it on there. Okay, now I have one more thing I need to do. I'm going to take this wood grain paper and I'm going to cut 4 of these little slats off of here. So pull my trimmer back out. Now I'm going to line up this black line along the cut line. And then to make sure that I've got it straight, I'm pulling this down from the top and this down from the bottom. And what that's going to do is that line right here on that plastic piece is going to show me if I'm cutting straight down on that black line right there. So I can get it as even as possible. So I want to move it over just a tiny bit. Get it down the center as much as I can on the top and the bottom. Move this over and this over again. Okay, and I'm going to cut it. Okay, so there's one, and I need to do that so that I have 4 of these pieces. Line that up there. Okay, there's the second one. These little plastic pieces with that line comes in really handy when you want to make something as precise as possible. And I love this trimmer because it allows me to do that. Okay, and there's the 4th one. Now I'm going to take these, I'm going to take all of them, and I'm going to trim them off by cutting 1/2 of an inch. So I've just stacked them. And I'm going to put them at the 1/2 inch mark and just trim them all off 1/2 of an inch. Okay. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the backs of these. I'm using the regular adhesive just because it will stay on there a little better than the repositionable. The repositionable will eventually become permanent, but I find that I use way too much of it. It's easy to use too much of that, and then that can get kind of expensive. So I try to use the regular adhesive as much as possible, and that way it helps cut down on the cost of the adhesive. So, okay, there's those 4 pieces. And I'm going to pull this one back in here. And now I'm just going to put these along the edges. They don't have to be perfectly straight. I really liked having a little bit of an off center when I did these, but you can kind of do them however you like. They can be straight. And like I said, mine's a little off center. Kind of center them from top to bottom, and then just do the same thing with the sides. And then just overlay these on the top and the bottom. Okay, now we're going to put the circle in the center. That's not completely straight. Let's lift this up a little bit and get this straight. There we go. We're going to add some adhesive. And then you can just eyeball this and kind of just get it in the center. a little notch right there. I think I'm going to trim that little piece a little bit. Here we go. I do kind of want to get the mountains straight on this. I'm eyeballing the center. Okay. Now, if you want, you can take like the tent and the trees punch with the border maker system, cut that across and set it on the bottom. That's how the original one looked. Let me show you the picture of the original one. This is the original one that Sashi did. So she has, these going across. Then she's got the tent and the tree border maker punch down here. Then she's also put some trees on the side. Excuse me. But I didn't want to add a bunch of trees when I'm going to be putting more photos on here. She only has the room for the one photo, which I totally understand this because it'll accent that photo and still give you the background. But I kind of like adding a few more photos than that on my pages. So what I did, and I've talked to you guys about this before, is I used one of the 12-inch laser cut border pieces, but I downloaded the Creative Memories, purchased and downloaded the Creative Memories software for this particular paper pack. And I went ahead and then uploaded it to my Cricut design space, and then was able to print these out on my printer. Now, my printer only technically prints 8.5 by 11 paper, but when I put 8.5 by 14-inch cardstock in it, I was able to do a full 12-inch border. And so I just did the print and cut, and I printed a bunch of these, and now I'm able to add them to multiple projects without having to open multiple packs of the laser cut borders. So I'm going to put that down here. Add some adhesive. And I'm going to line it up on the bottom here on that wood piece. I'm going to make it up kind of straight. And then I can add some photos. So let me see what I've got here. Oh, I love this photo. My daughter Hannah is pregnant with her first child. This is my daughter Jessica, who has 3 children. And this is my nephew Justin. He just had to get in on the photo. I just thought that was hysterical. He is so funny. So I'm going to add this to the page. And I've got my grandson. Oh, this was out on the river. So this is going to go perfect on this page. I'm going to trim that down. And I've got other photos of us out on the lake. I think I'll use that one. And this was the whole gang. This is always a yearly family trip. And you can't see anybody really well, but there were a bunch of us out there, and we always have a blast. That's really cute of my grandson. Ah, look at this. The kids were playing on a water mat, and I took this just at the right time to show Josiah leaping through the air. So I think I may have to add this one on there too. We'll have to see how it works. But anyway, I wanted to show you the new photo trimmer. I love this. This is the coolest. It still has the guillotine cut. This is very sharp along here, but it cuts smooth and straight. It's a lot bigger than our old one, and it takes you to 6 inches here, but then you can open up the arm and it takes it all the way out to 10.5 inches. So if you want to cut an 8.5 by 11 photo, trim it down a little bit, you can do a lot of that on this. It's designed just like our other trimmer. So there's glass on the top of here. It's glass or plexiglass. It may be a plexiglass, but it's got all the different measurements on it that the other one does. It's just a little bit smaller. This is amazing. Now, I'm not the type to take my photos and actually measure them and have them fit in a measurement on my page. I like to just take my photos, trim them up, again, to focus on what I wanted to take the photo of and get rid of some of the excess. I don't want to take too much of the water out of the background on this, but I do want to trim up quite a bit of it. So I'm going to cut here, kind of center us in this photo. Trim a little bit more off of this side. There we go. So see, doesn't that one look better? Trimming the excess off, but I didn't really measure it to a specific size. This one, I'm gonna cut a lot off the right-hand side. And I don't know, maybe I'll cut that off. Let me see, because I just want to focus on them in the water. I can always reprint it if I don't like it. There we go. I like that better. Okay, let's see. What else do I have here? This one I can take quite a bit off that one side. Okay, and I'll leave the rest of that. And then I think I'm going to leave this one. I like it. I actually maybe could take a tiny bit off the top of it. Not a whole lot. There we go. And I've got those 4 photos. If you don't have this, get a hold of your advisor. This is amazing and it's brand new. All right, let's see how I can arrange these photos on here. There's one. Let's see. Let's put this one down here too. And I can add the smaller ones towards the top. Let's see. I wonder if I can slide this under here a little bit. Where's my multi-purpose tool? No, that's not going to work. So I don't want to take too much out. I don't want to lose that sun. I wonder how I can get this on here. I'll just leave it off for now. Anyway, there you go, guys. Super easy, super simple page. If you would like to join my Facebook group, go ahead, check out Let's Scrapbook with Deanne on Facebook. I try to add other ideas that I see from other people that I think are really pretty, really cool. I usually post the new products that are coming out. And then sometimes my YouTube videos are added in there as well. So think about it. If you'd like to join that group, that would be great. You know what? The other one I need to add on here, and I have to do that next time, is the Coast to Coast scrapbooking group. Once a month, on usually the second Friday of the month, it lines up with the virtual crop that Creative Memories does on the weekends. There's 3 of us get together. I have 2 friends on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. and we get together and we teach 6 different page ideas. And I'll put that maybe that link in the comments with this video. And if you guys would like to join us on those nights, a lot of fun. It starts around 5:30 on the East Coast, so it's like 2:30 on the West Coast, and we go until 9 o'clock pretty much on the East Coast Pacific time. So it gets pretty late on the East Coast, but we hang out and create pages for our current scrapbooks and have a lot of fun. We go from there. And if you do not already have an advisor, I would be happy to help you out with the products that you may be looking for. So feel free to check out my website in the banner below. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me and have a marvelous week. And hope to see you guys next Monday. Talk to you later. Thank you so much.